No person is above the law in this country. Nothing stops us.
Even a former president.
I don't know how to, maybe I'll say that again. No person is above the law in this country. I can't say it any more clearly than that.
Well, not really. That doesn't seem to apply to the sons of at least two top Democrats, Hunter Biden, now off on vacation with his dad, the president, even though he is under federal investigation. And that probe has recently been said to have reached a critical stage. And now he seems to have the company in the liberal privilege department, Paul Pelosi Jr., who just accompanied his mother on the House Speaker's recent trip to Taiwan, is facing new question about his own business dealings, as new reports have emerged connecting him to 5 shady companies that at times have been under federal investigation. But the Speaker defended her decision to take him along when she was pressed by our own Aisha Hasni. Watch this.
There are some reports that your son was on this trip with you.
Yes,
was
he was.
he? And
yes, he
what was his role?
His role was to be my escort. Usually we invited spouses. Not all could come, that I had him come, and I was very proud that he was there, and I'm thrilled, and it was nice for me.
Did he have any business dealings while he was there in
not.
Taiwan?
Of course he did not.
Oh, of course he did not. Okay, like he's on the board of 2 lithium mining companies. And of course, Asian nations produce about 3/4 of all the lithium that now will be snapped up by the electric vehicle makers that have been propped up and funded by the Democrats.
That's right. How is it that the children of these national political figures all seem to have these similar obscure interests? Whether it's Hunter Biden, who somehow loves Ukrainian oil and gas industry, but we know his real passion is being an artist. And you have Paul Pelosi Jr., you mentioned the lithium. He's also invested in Singapore as well. He's invested in a Singapore energy sector company. And then you've got Paul Pelosi Sr., who happens to be the greatest stock picker in the world, it seems, right? In fact, New York Post reporting he bought $5 million in stock options on a computer chip company ahead of a vote on legislation that would deliver billions to boost the chip manufacturing industry. But it's a trend. I want to know, why was he on the trip? Was it just a vacation? Was it taxpayer funded? Would love to know that. She said he was an escort. I want to know if it was taxpayer funded. Would be a great answer to have.
Yeah. Remember that time we heard about Biden and Hunter, and I never spoke to his business partners, Devin Archer and others. Then the picture from, Shinnecock, or the Shinnecock Golf Club came out. We saw all the lies. We now know we have voicemails. Look, powerful people put their sons in place. They benefit without experience. That's not new. And by the way, if nobody's above the law, then why are there millions of illegal aliens running around America being let in by the chief law enforcement officers in this country and the president? It's BS. Who's above the law are their Democrat funders, their Democrat donors. And I'm going to blame the Republicans in part for this. When the Stock Act was passed, which was supposed to prevent some of this, the voting, remember Nancy Pelosi, the vote on that got her Visa stock and all these other things, the Republicans didn't force enforcement when they had the majorities. So Washington as an establishment protects Washington. Period. End of story. They all benefit. Look at the Republican side, the Democrat side, the 30-year politicians. Their kids are all magnificent experts in lithium and energy. And by the way, Hunter's favorite thing is Russian hookers, not Ukrainian businessmen.
A different kind of escort.
Exactly. There you go. I love people with
We don't know that, but, you know.
We have video.
Yeah. He's not a, paying for escorts.
Paid
It's
escort.
not. It's not.
Hey man, when you have Burisma money, you don't have to pay for very much. You don't have to pay for diamonds.
He was getting paid more than Exxon board members, being a board member of Burisma. But I talk about all politicians this way, that it's fear equals control, control equals power, and that's why they get into this grift, this con in the first place. My dad told me when I, graduated from college, he was like, "You're on your own, honey. Here's $20. Don't call me if you're getting married. Go elope. I don't know anybody who can get you a job," because he wasn't a politician and he didn't know any.
Yeah, remember when not too long ago becoming a politician and serving this country was, a thankless job. You were doing it
not because you wanted to enrich yourself. The question is, why Taiwan? Okay, not just why did she bring her son, but why is she there in the first place? We still don't have why was she there? We still don't have an answer to that. Obviously, it irked China. It actually created a national security issue for a hot minute. And why was her son not listed as part of the delegation when we would have obviously, found out that he was there? And we have a major problem in this country. We have career politicians who are serving this country for longer than any of us have been alive, who are enriching themselves, enriching their children, enriching their grandchildren, and it's just degrading this country. And the optics of this are so horrible. We look terrible.
We have politicians older than the chocolate chip cookie.
I know. We have a show
scary.
on we have a game show on my show, Kennedy, weeknights at 7 p.m.
I just shot you the evil eye, Kennedy. That's the signal for you to go.
But yeah, we have a game called Biden Time, and it's like, what's older, the tennis ball or Joe Biden? And it's almost always Joe Biden. So if you're ever playing, now you know. These unremarkable people. You talk about the graft. These are grifters. Like, these are people who they don't have any talent. They don't have any area of expertise. They've never had to work for anything. Especially, politicians like Nancy Pelosi never really reached the level of scrutiny that a president or a presidential candidate would achieve. She's protected in California, so God knows what kind of insider trading and shady deals and, deals with law enforcement have gone on to protect her family in the past. But at some point, you got to get sick of it from both parties, because we are held hostage by them, and their kids are enriching themselves, and they're not doing the world any service.
Why aren't journalists more interested in this?
Yes.
All the people I worked with, everybody wanted to be the next, Woodward or Bernstein, and this is like, what's more exciting than like on the Hunter Biden beat? You're hanging out, you're like traveling overseas, hanging out in like strip clubs and crack dens. Who don't want to be on that beach?
If I could just quickly say, since reporters notice who's on planes, I would routinely get texts on Air Force One, who's on the plane, who's this person, who's that person. Where were the texts from the reporters asking who this was and why he was there? It's a good question.
I mean, he looks just like his dad's DUI picture.
Yeah.
Do their girlfriends look alike?
Oh, boy.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.